Alright, this is the Stihl 261 after getting a new carburetor and a muffler mod. It just wasn't acting quite right, so I suspected, and I did a pressure test on it, and there was no air leaks on the saw portion, so I suspected an air leak on the throttle shaft of the carburetor. It appears that's right, because it's holding idle better and just overall running a whole lot better. I'll run the 501 against it just so y'all can see for reference. Here's the 501. Times were, but the 261's definitely much faster and stronger than it was, and the 501's got kind of a rough chain on it. It took down 2 pecan trees the other day, pretty much from canopy down. So hope y'all enjoyed it. So for those that are curious, my opinion, just by having them in my hand, I still think the 501 would take this one if you put a faster chain on it. That one, like I said, it's been worked. It needs to be sharpened now. It still cuts decent, but it's not fresh. This chain's pretty fresh on the 261. Port work on that one, had 50 thousandths taken off the base of the cylinder. I think I used a 15 thousandths gasket and then set the squish to 25 thousandths ish. Exhaust I think is 104, 105. All I did for the uppers was move the primary to 124. The secondary kind of swoops in at an angle, and I left that one alone because I think it starts to open at like 127, so they're split by a couple degrees. There's probably more power left in that saw, but this woke it up tremendously, and that thing turned out to be a basket case. When I accepted the job, I didn't realize what shape it was in, but that's neither here nor there. It got new crank bearings, new crank seals, new piston rings, new carburetor fuel lines. It could probably use a sprocket. There's a few things left on it that I'm just not gonna fool with. I'll leave that up to the owner. But that's just a message to the curious. Used a West Coast saws, one of their little power ports or whatever they call them. I kind of like those things. They just look clean when you install them. And you can run a screen, which where I'm at, I'm not really concerned about screens for fire prevention, because that thing I'm not usually running it in dry conditions, but I hadn't seen any sparks get thrown out of it. But mud daubers are terrible, so I stopped that one up with like newspaper, paper towels when I store it in the garage, because the mud daubers just got a thing for getting an exhaust, and that's why I run the screens in those.